I'm gonna say.
All right, and we're live, ladies and gentlemen. We're here. Another episode, another video, another live stream, another time for us to get together and talk about the seriousness of this market and why it's the crash. It's continuing. Alex, do you have any words for us?
Like I said, man, tulips, Beanie Babies, Pokemon cards. What do all these things have in common? Everything. They all went to near zero. Pokemon not yet, but it's on its way. And basically, you just either cash out or you crash out with it.
Yeah.
And look, there's nobility. Like, there is nobility in crashing out with it. Captain of the Titanic went down with his ship. He's respected for that.
Should you also be like hammered while this is happening then?
It
Like
helps.
the captain
it
of
helps.
the
But I mean,
Titanic?
look, like Rose got out. She's on the lifeboat. She got to live a full life. That's also respectable. And I don't think we should pick and choose which is right for each person. I'll probably go down with the ship, but
I think that definitely crashing out is the more honorable method. I mean, it's kind of what's formed this hobby at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, words to live by, man.
No, but in other news, I mean, Snipe, the Snipe platform, the one that Probstein started when they left eBay. It seems like the auctions are starting to end, and they're ending relatively good prices. And I think that was one of the reasons that Liquidity was kind of at a little bit of a standstill in the hobby, is because a lot of guys, they did almost $1 billion in sales on eBay. I forget how much they were doing a year, like hundreds of millions. So a lot of product was moving through Probstein. Whether you like them or hate them, that is irrelevant. A lot of people were selling through them. A lot of people were buying through them. And when that went away, there wasn't an easy way to move large amounts of sealed products. There's not a lot of other sealed product consignment sources out there that charge good enough rates for it to make sense. And so now that that's up and running and people are starting to see good prices, that's going to give some confidence. And you're probably going to see a lot more sealed product moving again. And so that's going to help the hobby again. So that's
Make sure you leave a like, comment down below, subscribe. Really helps out the channel. Alex with the segue. Didn't even shout us out, dude. Come on, man. Don't get serious on me just yet. Also, his content link is down in the description below, too, if you want to see him.
Dude, I just, man, it's fun. Some of our skits are fun at this point, but dude, the market crash, I think I'm just burnt, dude. I'm just like,
you're burnt, dude.
I can't even joke about it. I'm just so burnt out, man. I'm burnt out on, and maybe it's newer people that get caught up in it more, but it's the constant, a set gets released and then once TCG Player opens up, sales for the general public and not just, hobby shops, the singles obviously come down and everyone has to make their videos. Singles are crashing. Look out, Phantasmal. It's dude, it's happened to every set in the history of Pokemon. This is not new. Come up with something better to talk about, please.
Wow.
I'm just saying the quiet power out loud. Let's be honest.
I mean,
anyone that's been here more than a year or two is thinking the same thing.
Would you say that it's getting redundant at this point?
Absolutely. It's Groundhog's Day.
Again?
Forever.
Dude, why does it always feel like it's Groundhog's Day?
Because it is.
Doesn't make sense.
And like I said, I'm cool with it. I mean, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's fun to watch everybody freak out and panic, and the Chicken Littles running around watch the skies falling. And it's equally as fun as when everything runs up and all the people get all upset and they cry at everyone who has the product. It's all fun to watch. Don't get me wrong. It's just it gives you a headache from time to time.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's one of those things where feels like there's things happening in the market, but nothing of a major revelation yet, right? We obviously can talk about some of the price volatility and the corrections that we're seeing that are continuing in the market for specific items. We can talk about Phantasmal, how we think that's performing. Wave 2, obviously, what we think that could do. Looking at Mega as well. There's still a lot of things to kind of digest and really kind of process within this market and use that to, formulate what we kind of think is going to happen moving forward. But realistically, it's not like we've seen any sort of major news that is going to be a catalyst one way or another.
Yeah. No, and like, again, like I don't even like hold it against any of the content creators. Like I'm actually happy I've kind of got to the point now where like the business has grown and like obviously the investments have done well and everything's kind of, moving where I'm not like, overly dependent on like content revenue and things. And so like a lot of the videos I make lately, like I know when I'm doing the video, researching it, when I'm filming it, when I post it, I already know if a video's, some videos take off for whatever reason, but I already know they're not going to do as well as if I just kind of turn the camera on and talk some BS about some other creator or talked about, a crash or going to the moon or something like. But I'm at the point now where I just don't care anymore. I decided, I'm going to try to put out content I think is valuable. I'm not going to get wrapped up in the madness, even if it gets more views. But again, it gets views. Like people complain about like all the crash content or all this and that drama content. It's like, well, they're getting massive amounts of views. Why would they stop? Right.
Yeah.
It's alluring. Crazy. Trust me. Like when you see the sub numbers go up, the view numbers go up, the engagement, the comment section, like, and then you're kind of like this side versus that side. It's fun. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, that's why, like, I'm not a hater. It's great. It's just, I guess when you've been around for years, it just becomes again, like Groundhog's Day. And you're just like, man, I don't even want to go through this cycle again. I'm just going to sit this cycle out.
Are you speaking from experience here, Alex, on a personal note?
Dude, I am. It's fun. It's all
sounds like you're ready for the crash out portion of the market.
The crash out. That's another thing. Like this people crashing out. I don't even know what they're crashing out over. Maybe Lost Origin. I mean, I guess Lost Origin is like you could say you could crash out over Lost Origin. That one's actually fallen quite a bit. Maybe like Chilling Reign. But like, I mean, what else is people could be crashing about right now? Like 10% drops. There's a couple sets that have fallen, a generous amount, but I mean, maybe if you have like a huge position in those, maybe you lost a decent amount of money. Otherwise, like, are you really losing any amount of money that affects you? Like, is it that big of a deal? I don't know.
I mean, if anything, it's just another opportunity to dollar cost average.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that there's a listing right now in Lost Origin for $625 plus like $10 shipping, it's crazy to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, but again, it's like, here, I'm going to pull it up right now. Let me share my screen real quick. I want to like kind of show you what, because me and you've been in the content game for some time, so I'll just kind of show everyone a little bit how this works. All right, share it. So here's how this works, guys. If I want to make a bearish video, it's very simple, guys. Lost Origins crashing. It was up in the 800s. It is now down in the low 6s. Probably going to go down lower from here. Blah blah blah. And then I could just make the same video and be like, hey guys, look, this box was literally 237 1 year ago. And even after the downturn from where it was, it's still over $600. You're near 200% gains in 1 year. Show me where else you can make those kind of gains other than some wild crypto or wild, AI stock or something. It's probably better than most any other gains you're going to see out there. But again, fear the 1 month chart. And so it's like, it's basically however far out you want to go or kind of, go coming close really tells you about like, you kind of make any kind of vision in the market that you want. That's why it's just kind of goofy at this point. It's just like, man, anyone who stays involved in this hobby more than a couple years, you all know by now. You all know this stuff goes up over time. You're going to see better than average returns. Anyone who's sold in this hobby, I mean, me and Eli both sold millions of dollars worth of this stuff. As long as you're being reasonable about the prices you want and you're not looking for like 100 or 110% of market, if you're willing to understand there are selling fees and shipping incorporated with this stuff and you're willing to let it go, you're going to get out of this stuff. It's very liquid, especially if you're in booster boxes or like PSA 10 or singles that are popular Pokemon and top tier cards people want. And I just think, just a lot of the nonsense is overblown, man.
How are you feeling about Phantasmal right now?
Doing exactly what I thought it would do. I mean, I think when we were on here, I said it would probably between 280 and 320 is what I thought it would kind of stabilize in. I think it literally dropped to a low of maybe like right around 280 on the day of release. and then it ran right back up to like 310. And now I think it's hanging around like 300, 305. I think it'll probably stay in that range until the second wave comes, at which point it'll probably look a lot like Mega. It'll probably drop down in the mid 200s. That's what I would expect. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's definitely a question of, are we feeling weakness in the market right now across the board, or is it one of these things where we're seeing weakness in certain aspects of the market, and then you also have supply playing a factor for the newer sets, with wave twos playing into the price. It's hard to say for certain. I honestly think that there's an argument to be made that Phantasmal could drop below 250, like on the second wave. Like, I think there's an argument that it could go down to like 220, 230, which isn't crazy. Like, it's not like a major crash, right?
That's a crash though to people.
It's a crash. My
Think
bad,
about
guys.
that. A brand new set being,
Mhm.
because here's the thing, it's going to happen eventually. And that's kind of like why I'm just like, I guess a little more like just tired. Cause like I've already seen the future. Like I got the 8-ball. I've already asked the 8-ball all the questions. You already see the future. Like you're eventually going to have items starting getting released closer to $200. And you're going to have people thinking it's like the end of the world when it's still literally double over distribution cost. It's probably still going to be 20, 30, 40% over MSRP, but you're going to have people acting like it's like the crash of the century. And it's just like, dude, this is an extremely strong market, whether the box is $200 or $300.
I think that, man, this might be a hot take. I think that the Charizard Ultra Premium Collection is telling us a lot right now in this market. And what I mean by that is, like, the price of it was selling for 280, and we've talked about this quite a bit on stream at this point. There is a lot of that product that got printed, like a crazy amount. And so because of that,
How many times more of that did you get than the prismatic SPCs again? Wasn't it like 5x?
I think it was 5x more, yeah. Like an insane amount more, right? An insane amount more. So this is an item that obviously has seen a huge correction, but at the end of the day, it's still at like $80 above MSRP. So 120 is MSRP for this thing. It's selling for 200. So
distros 80, 90, whatever your distro price is,
80 is distro price.
I mean, dude, that's 150% over distro price.
Yeah.
But again, that can be spun. Again, I can do the same thing. I can spin that as a crash, or I can spin it as a positive thing. It's just like however you want to take it that day.
Yeah. So I guess the thing that I'm saying that might be controversial is, I think that right now people look at Pokemon and say, oh, they're not printing enough, which I think is a valid statement. However, people are still forgetting about the impact that supply plays into the market. And this is something that I feel like people need to still recognize, that if Pokemon were to come up with a product that is going to be printed significantly similar to an item like this, prices will still have major corrections.
Yeah.
Now, I have no clue how much more we're going to get of this product, because for those of you guys that don't remember, because this was several years ago at this point, the Charizard Ultra Premium Collection, it had its first reprint. The price went from 300 all the way down to 200, and then the low 100, or the high 100, sorry, like 180, 200. It then got another reprint wave several months after, and that's what brought it to sub $100. So I'm not saying that's going to happen, right? Because right now history has not really been repeating itself a whole lot when it comes to how they've been handling reprints at the moment, because we haven't seen any in over a year. But what I am to say is that if, hypothetically speaking, we were to get some more of this product, because Pokemon wants to use the Ultra Premium collections like they have historically as a way to push out supply onto the market in large quantities for like loose packs, I wouldn't be surprised if you could see this thing go closer to MSRP. Which sounds crazy to say, but I mean, we've seen it before when they're printing this much product. I mean, like we just said, 5x the amount of what we got for prismatic UPCs. So supply is something that should still always be considered.
What I want to do, I want to ask this to you and the chat, but I want to get your response to it. If you had to guess, right? from the year after COVID, 2021, 2022. All right. Because I looked at the print run numbers. I did a video about it. If you had to guess from then till now, how many more packs do you think are open per year than were back then? Like, do you think we're double, 5x, 10x, 50x? Like, how many more packs because of rip and ships do you think are open now than were 5 years ago? 4 years ago?
Oh man. Because of rip and ships?
What do you guys think, chat? Like, how many
What are
more
you basing off of this? I'm curious.
Well, I want to get your take. How many more packs do you think are opened now per year than were opened 4 years ago per year?
4 years ago?
Like, how much do you think it's went up?
I would say that based on the current demand of the market, probably around 4 times more, I would say.
You think that's it?
That's it. I didn't realize that was little.
Well, I mean, just with like the rise of Whatnot, Drip, Fanatics Live, TikTok.
I mean, those
YouTube,
were
Twitch.
already on the rise, but 4x is quite a bit. I mean,
Well, okay, even 4x, right? Even 4x, that's 400%. Well,
yeah, that's a lot.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So the print run was 9 billion cards back in 21 to 22. Last year it was only 10.8 billion.
Right, that makes sense.
So it's went up 13%.
Yeah.
And pack rips have went up, in your estimation, 400%. And a lot of the chat says 1,000%, 20. Yeah. So it's like everyone is in agreement that packs are getting opened exponentially more than products being printed. But somehow everyone thinks there's going to be plentiful products in Scarlet Violet when there's not plentiful products in Sword and Shield, XY, or Sun. It doesn't make sense. Numbers don't add up. That's why all the reprint, restock, all this stuff, it's meaningless when you look at the numbers and understand, oh yeah, in 5 years, there's not going to be any of this stuff around. It's very clear.
Yeah. It's definitely.
And that's why it's why when you actually study the numbers and the data, it kind of like shelters you from all the emotion that's out there in the hobby, right? All the different people's takes and their opinions and their emotions and anger. When you look at the numbers, you're like, oh, this is obvious. Like when I go look at these streams and what's being opened, and I look at my own stream and we did the math on last night. I was on a live stream. Like I'm gonna open I think 150,000 packs on average this year. And then I'm not even one of the largest streamers anywhere near it. And you start doing the math, you're like, yeah. And then you look at how what their sales data was in 2021 compared to now. You look at what TikTok Live's doing, Fanatics Live, Drip Live, how everyone's grown. The numbers are so exponentially more now of packs being ripped compared to how much more they're printing. It's light years away. And so to think that there's going to be as much product as there were in the past around in the same amount of time, it's ludicrous.
I think the difficult thing is, at least in my mind, obviously there's been an increase in the amount of packs ripped, but I don't think it's because, how do I want to say this? Yes, rip and ships have played a factor, but we've had rip and ships since the Sword and Shield era.
That's my point, though. If you look at how a lot of the numbers have grown from sales in all the companies, it's exponentially more.
Right, but I don't think
so. We had rip and ships, but they've risen to an astronomical amount, whereas the print runs have not risen exponentially. So
no, I get that, but let me try and get to my point that I'm trying to get to. So I guess what I'm saying is it's not like one of these things where it's build it and they will come. It's not that rip and shippers came, therefore demand came into the market. It's like, no, rip and shippers were there, but now the market demand has come and the rip and ships have been able to help feed into the acceleration of that is what I guess I'm articulating. So I would say, yes, rip and shippers help feed the acceleration of packs being opened, but it has more to do, in my mind, with the demand for packs being opened and the accessibility to rip and shippers than it has to do with the fact that there are more rip and shippers now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because to me, at least how I see it, is that we're in a cyclical market for the past year that is completely based around just whether that be FOMO, whether that be the opportunity that people feel like they have to make money in this space. And so you've got multiple different individuals that are like, I need to buy it now because if I don't, the prices are going to go up. I need to buy it now and sell it now because the prices could correct. I need to go scalp the product and make margin off. Like there's this like kind of cycle or this kind of, culture that we're currently in within the space that is everything is just all built around the quick in and quick get out. Like we're not looking at this and saying, oh, everyone that comes into my shop must be buying the product because they want to like sit on it for the long term. Like, no, people that come in and buy product at stores, whether that be retailers at LGSs or big box, they're buying it either because they want to quickly flip it so they can get in and get out, or they want to quickly rip it because they're afraid prices are going to probably continue to rise. And so they might as well buy it now because at the end of the day, more than ever, people are getting accustomed to market price. And so they understand like if an item is consistently been going up every single month, 20%, 30% plus, if I'm going to want to open it, I might as well open it now because I know if I wait a month, it's going to be more expensive and I might not be able to afford it, right? And so when you have people that are kind of accustomed to that culture, it incites like a FOMO reaction. And so until you start changing the psychological behavior of scalpers buying because they know they can make money and people ripping because they know they need to do it before prices go up even further, like it's not going to change.
Yeah. All right, let me throw something else down. We're going to add more to this. There's more layers to this. In March 2020 to March 2021, right smack dab middle of the pandemic boom, there were 3.7 billion cards printed. The year after, again, in 2021 to 2022, which people would call the crash, when we saw all those boxes that everyone always talks about, the battle styles, Chilling Reign, Fusion Strike go to $80, all the fall off, right? 9.1 billion.
Okay.
So
what year was 3.7?
The year before, 2020 to 2021, 9.1, 21 to 22. So it went from 3.7 to 9.1. So basically, the people that think there's a crash coming, they're basically thinking it's going to be similar exponential numbers. I'm going to tell you right now, Pokemon is not going from 10.2 billion to like 25 billion in a year. That would be the level of increase you would need for it to have any similar effect to what happened back
then.
then.
What was the numbers from 20? Do we have the numbers for 2018 to 2019?
The data I see, it just says they were between 1.5 to 2 billion a year prior to 2019.
Is that an estimation or an actual report?
I guess it's an estimation.
Because my thing is, the concern that I have for those numbers is COVID happened during 2020, and so is that 3.7 representative of what they were able to print because of demand, or what they were able to print because of supply chain issues?
No, so the numbers were lower before that. They were still up from the previous year.
Okay, so it was up from the previous year. Okay.
Yeah. And so like what, 3.7? I mean, how many? I'm trying to do the quick math, right? Like it's about a 250-ish% increase to 9.1. So basically you would need the 10.2 to go to 25 billion cards to have a similar effect to what the effect was back then with the increased printing. I don't see it. I don't see it coming. I think people are foolish to think that way.
Yeah.
But again, we operate on numbers. Like we don't operate on the emotional that I'm angry and prices should be lower. It's like, so it's hard to have that conversation because we're arguing two different things.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, when do these reports typically come out for how much they print?
Oh, I usually once a year. So March 24 to 25 was the last one. So I'm guessing in March we'll probably get it for our 25 to 26.
I was about to say that will be interesting to see.
Yeah.
That will be fascinating because if we see, well, let me ask you this. I'm curious what your perspective is. If you see that for March 25 to 26, if it shows that the number was exactly the same, how would you react versus if you saw the number was double what it was prior?
If it was exactly the same, I'd be more confident than ever. If it was double, I would continue to pick up early SV 1 through 4 plus 151 Paldean, continue to pick up Sword and Shield into this downturn, be more cautious on the newer sets, because that would tell me they're really pumping out the newer stuff. And I would want to, not that I would never want to buy them, but I would probably want to buy them a lot lower price points than they currently were if they were printing all the new stuff double as much.
I guess it's one of those questions where it's like, what does it really tell you about how Pokemon is handling printing product?
Well, just judging by the fact from 23 to 24, it was 11.9 billion, and then they dropped it down to 10.2 last year. That tells me that they're very aware that there's obviously like a kind of middle ground where too much is going to be too low, because obviously 23, 24, that was when Scarlet Violet was all, tanking and very cheap. Then they took the printing down a bit and things recovered, right? So I think they're trying to find that middle ground of things having value, but also not being too expensive. So I would expect the number to go up, but I don't think it's going to go up exponentially.
I think what's also tough, though, is the fact that we don't really know how long it takes for them to print stuff. So like the numbers, depending upon where these calculations are being taken, we realistically don't know like the story. Because realistically, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, let's say we have like some insanely large reprint at the start of next year.
Yeah.
That's going to be product that could have been being printed all of the year prior, but it wasn't being accounted into the numbers because it didn't happen until the year after. You know what I'm saying?
True, but then it would just get pushed into the next years. Yeah.
Because the numbers that we got specifically for the numbers that we got specifically for the reprints of Lost Origin, Silver Tempest, Brilliant Stars, Astral, 151 Crown Zenith, that was all that happened during 2023.
Yep.
So
and I think that's good. That's a good lesson for everyone to learn. Like, guys, every single one of those numbers, right? That is including every reprint, every restock, every possible name under the sun you can think of. That's including all that. All the products still rose in value. I just think everyone's getting so worked up over every announcement of a reprint or restock or a holiday sale, a Black Friday sale, this sale, that sale. It's like all these numbers encompass all that. All the products have done what they've done with the reprints. It's these people think like a reprint means the prices crash, they don't recover. It's like every set in history is recovered. It's fine.
I guess maybe here's how I look at it, right? And I guess what's difficult to know is we cannot really truly know for certain, right?
Nope.
Because we don't know how much of a factor is accounted for when it comes to new set releases versus printed older product. But take it with a grain of salt. If we see numbers are relatively similar from this year, and we'll say it was only a couple million more, my belief is that any of these prints that we've gotten, because we obviously had a small supply of, Surging, a small supply of Twilight come, right? But is it a small supply because they printed a small amount, or is it a small supply because of the demand and they were only able to give out so much to each person? I think that answer is going to be given, part and parcel based off of what the numbers are going to be when we get the report. Because if we see that they ended up printing in insane amount more, then I think there's an argument to be made. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, there wasn't enough. But if we see there wasn't a huge shift in how much they printed, then it was one of these things where, okay, well, they obviously didn't print a large amount from the get-go. So this is something that is not indicative of them not printing enough, or they can't print enough. It's that they aren't printing enough. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because it's purposeful. It's not by accident. You know what I mean? It's not, we can't print enough because the demand is too high. It's like, oh no, we can print enough if we want to. We're just choosing not to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because if they've shown us they can print 11.9 billion in 2023, 2024, if they don't at least print 11.9 billion, that shows they're not technically at capacity.
Yeah.
For sure, right? And there's no even proof they were at capacity back then, right? But if they don't even hit what they did 2 years ago, then it's very clear they're not at capacity, and everything we're hearing about they can't print or they can't keep up is wrong, and they're just doing it with
that
I'll
kind
say
of
with
changes your
purpose.
mentality. That
Yeah.
changes your mentality of how you view Pokemon handles things, right?
I think that'll give us a very good idea of how they feel about the secondary market.
I think would be even more crazy. I mean, we're just talking hypothetical game. This is no base or reasoning in facts, but it would be hilarious to see is if we got the report and we saw that the numbers showed that they were very similar to the previous year. And then from there, several months after that report happens, we see a massive reprint that occurs. And then the report for the year of 2026 comes out a year later, and then it shows the significant increase. And it was just one of those things where they were printing, but we never got to see it until it finally hit the market. I think that'd be funny to see if something like that were to happen.
You know what you could if we wanted to go like full CoffeeZilla with it, could you imagine like like diving into like the print facilities and like almost like getting the employees to tell us how many like hours they worked like this year compared to last year and be like, well, they cut their hours, so obviously they're not even working as much as they could.
Oh my goodness gracious.
That'd be amazing, dude.
Uh-huh,
No, I mean,
so
I don't know.
fun.
I just I'm just a super data driven person. Like I make my decisions off data, like zero emotion. And so like it's interesting and fun to look at all this stuff, and like it gives you confidence in the decision you're making, whether it be, good or bad, bullish or bearish. It at least gives you kind of a frame of reference to make your decisions off of. That's all it really is.
Taking a little bit of a pivot, just kind of talking a little bit more about some of the items that we've been looking at.
Yeah.
Mega Evolution, it's sitting right at 250, but it doesn't feel like it's one of these items that's like it feels like it's hanging on for dear life at 250. Like, what are your
Think
thoughts?
about this. The Bulbasaur is what, $25 sealed. So the packs in the box are valued at like 225 really, which is crazy.
Yeah.
That's less than, effectively without the promo, it's like less than SV base.
Yeah. No, it's I mean, you've obviously seen price corrections on a lot of the singles. As you see,
And in my opinion, that's a strong set. Like, I like Destin, I like Surging, I like Paldea, but Mega Evolutions is right there in that same conversation. So it's a little surprising. But again, Surging's taking a big correction, right? It had a lot of boxes show up in the vending machines. Paldea's taken a decent sized correction. I think it's now stabilized in like the high 3s, 400 range. And then Destin Rivals is the only one that's still just strong as ever. So, in a way, it makes sense.
Yeah. Do you think that it's going to hold on to right around 250 like we've been talking about for the past 3 weeks, or do we see a possibility where that could change?
It could. Especially when like the first block of Scarlet Violet goes out of print, like a Scarlet Violet base and some of those sets aren't really going to be able to be compared anymore because like Paradox Rift, because they'll be out of print. Like you're not going to compare out of print sets to sets that are still technically in print. So like, it wouldn't be a big leap to say, oh, well, why is Scarlet Violet base and Paradox more expensive than Mega Evolution if they become? And you can say, well, yeah, because they're out of print. You'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So like that's the only thing that would make sense is when those got a print next spring, I could see, there'll be some good sets that are technically less than those because they're just, they're not being printed anymore. So I could see it happening.
At this point, how much do you think is going to be a driving force in the demand for the hobby when it comes to the actual enjoyment of the set itself compared to them just putting out new product?
It's a good question, man. I think we're already seeing it. I think, a lot of these Scarlet Violet sets are the same price as Sword and Shield. With the exception of Evolving Skies. Look, 151 Paldea and Fates are just as expensive as Fusion Strike and Crown Zenith, if not more. They're being opened more. All the other sets, like the high-end sets, like the Destin Rivals, the Mega, Phantasmal's brand new, but what are some other sets? A lot of the sets are getting closer and closer to Sword and Shield pack prices, but everyone prefers to open the Scarlet Violet sets because why? They're more fun. You get more hits. You have a better chance of pulling a valuable hit, meaning something that's like $20, $30 plus than you do in Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield, a lot of those sets are like the top, like a couple of cards or bust, right? Like, you know what? Silver Tempest. You got to get Lugia, Rayquaza VMAX. You know, what else is there? It's, I mean, Lost Origin. It's got to be Garatina, one of the Pikachu, you know, trainer galleries, Aerodactyl, right? It's like, whereas we'll have these Scarlet Violet sets, they don't have as high of highs, but they have a big chunky middle ground where there's a lot of cards that are valued 20, 30, 40, $50. And also a lot of these boxes you hit, you know, 14, 15, 16 hits, especially in Mega Evolutions and Phantasmal, whereas Sword and Shield, those middle era boxes without trainer galleries, you get like 8 hits a box. Trainer gallery sets, you might get 12. And so I just think Pokemon's doing it right where they're getting more hits, but they're still keeping the top hits very rare to create the chase still. And I think it's a perfect combination.
Do you think that Phantasmal overall is a good set?
No.
I mean, it's $300 a box. It's $300 a box. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, you could make an argument for so many sets saying if it was in a different era, it would have been worth way less or way more, right? But just face value, just looking at Phantasmal, like, how is it as a set?
First of all, the Charizard's too easy to hit. It's harder than Obsidian, but it's much easier than any of the previous SIRs have been in like, you know, Mega, Destin, etc. The gold Charizard's that god tier rarity, but how much do people really want the gold cards? That's yet to be seen. It seems like they still really want them in Mega, but who knows how that's going to play out. But look, I just think history has shown us. Here's the thing. I don't like to look at Darkness Ablaze because the Charizard was not a top hit, right? In the early era of Scarlet or of Sword and Shield, Rainbow Rares were the top rarity, right? It didn't even get a Rainbow Rare in that set. The Rainbow Rare was thrown in Champion's Path. And so it didn't even get a top hit Charizard. You go back to Burning Shadows, it's doing relatively good. It's like right in the middle, right? You go look at Flashfire, one of the top sets. And then you look at Obsidian Flames, it's the right way it's aging right now. It's still in the top half of sets, and it's got really nothing more than a Charizard, which is worse than this one. So dude, having those 2 Charizards, people don't like to hear it. It's enough. It's going to be enough. It's going to do well. But do I like the set overall? No.
I mean, do we think that, I mean, we've talked about this before, so I feel like it's rhetorical, but I'll still bring it up. Do we think that we could get a string of sets that are not enough and eventually it keeps the momentum rolling? Or do we think that bad sets at this point aren't enough to change demand because people don't care about whether a set's good or not? They care about the fact that there's a belief of being able to make money.
No, I think if a set's bad enough, it wouldn't do well. You'd see that sub 200 box, maybe go to MSRP, whatever. But I mean, again, like I think there's a difference between a bad set and then also a set like Phantasmal, but has 2 of the most chased after cards probably of the era. I mean, that Charizard's gonna be chased after forever. So like, if it's a set that has just like no big chase, no popular Pokemon, then I think it might be detrimental.
I mean, because here's my thing, right? Let's take a look at Mega compared to Phantasmal. So if you just look at Mega, you obviously have the Lucario, the Gardevoir, both the golds. You have both the special illustration rares. You've got the Venusaur, the Latias, and then you've got the Lily's Determination, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got 5 cards that are right at $100 or above $100. Then if you go to Phantasmal, it's the Charizard SIR and it's the Gold Charizard, and that's it.
Yeah.
And the difference after that, because once you get past Lilies, you've got a Mega Absol that's 80, you've got a Mega Kangaskhan that's 77. After
by the way, to
the Mega Charizard Gold, dude, it goes from a $600 card down to a $50 card.
Right.
Like, there's not like a descent where it's slowly, kind of like with Mega, gets less and less valuable of a chase card. It's like, nope, you either get a $600 card or you get a $50 card. There's no in between.
Right.
And
Yeah,
that's on the second best or the third best. Sorry.
but I don't know.
I guess what I'm articulating is that, like, I feel like we've talked about so many times in history, people don't like small sets. I mean, people hated on Journey because it was a small set and it did well because of the era it was in, but it wasn't a set that really performed insane in the same way as something like a Destin, something like a Prismatic.
Well, let me throw this at you though. Fusion Strike, even after all this time to age, remember, that's a brand new set. The lower end cards haven't even had time to recover. And Fusion Strike has Gengar, Mew, or Espeon and Mew. 2 Mews, so 4 cards. Then it drops to Celebi, which is around $50. So it's got 4 cards other than 2. But again, it's had time to age, and some of those cards have rebounded where they weren't always over 50. And so that box is the second most expensive booster box.
Right, but we're not talking about the history of Fusion Strike.
No,
We're
what I'm
talking
saying
about
is
how it is now.
what
I'm
I'm
not saying
saying
long
is
term. I'm not saying long term. I'm
Oh.
saying right now in this very moment in this current market. That's what I'm saying.
You're saying, is it properly valued right now?
I'm saying, is the value of Phantasmal being held up by the fact that it's a good set, or is it being held up by the fact that it's in a good market? Or is it a little bit of both? Because realistically speaking, right? Like Journey Together, I feel like everyone can agree that if Journey Together was released a year and a half ago, it would probably be in the low 100s to mid 100s as a set. It would not be above $200.
No.
No way. It would be below MSRP.
100%.
So I guess my question is Phantasmal. Phantasmal is a set that is obviously being released and is around $300. But the biggest change that we've seen since Journey is that we're having multi-wave systems, right? So is Phantasmal performing the way it is right now because of the market we're in, plus the scarcity of the product being split into 2 waves? Or is it because it's a really strong set and then those other factors also help it?
The 2 waves is definitely plays a part the same way it did with Mega. If this was released back like when Brilliant Stars was released, yeah, it would probably be $130 box.
Yeah.
It probably would have been more than some of the weaker sets, but it wouldn't have been, Evolving Skies or something.
So I guess my question is do we think that if we get multiple different, we'll say weaker sets within this hobby, is that going to be enough to where we see a slowdown in the market? Or is there such a belief in the market that it has literally nothing to do with the sets that they're putting out, because people will eat the slop regardless, because they feel like as long as there's a continuation, then it's not going to change anything? And when I mean continuation, I mean is scalpers are going to scalp because they know they can keep making money, and people are going to keep buying because they know if they don't, prices are just going to keep going up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I think
like
that's where my Fusion Strike example plays in.
Because there's like this belief in the market basically that like it's too big to fail, and it's causing people to keep FOMOing into things regardless of whether or not they have belief in the sets themselves.
The reason it's hard for me to give an opinion. I don't think this set fits that mold, because that's kind of what I was talking about Fusion Strike. As long as the set has a couple insanely expensive cards, it's gonna hold it up, right? People want that they want that chase. And so if you take the price of the Charizard, right, and you take the price of the box, so you're saying the box would normally be 130, so you're gonna take you're going to take the box down, whatever percentage that is. If you took that percentage off the Charizard, it would still be what, like a $200-$300 card? That would still be an incredibly high chase even back then. So I think because the chase is just that insane, it gives the box and the set enough to have value. Now, what value, I don't know, but this isn't that trash of a set because it has the Charizards. But yes, I think if they print an actual slop set, like a Steam Siege or an Emerging Powers, no, I don't think it's going to hold up over 200. I really don't.
But here's I guess a better question to ask then, because I get what you're saying now. So what you're basically saying is yes, it's Charizard or bust, but because the value of the Charizard is worth so much, it's still a set that people are willing to purchase just for the purpose of the chase.
Absolutely, yeah.
If we were to get a set where it was similar to this, but except the fact was that the most valuable card within the set went for, we'll say $200. right? $150 around that price point. And you
Well,
had two of
Journey
those cards.
Together.
Huh?
That's Journey Together. That's what the Lily's Clefairies were.
That's exactly what I'm basically saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying if we get another couple sets similar to Journey, well, how do you think the market reacts?
I think we'll see a sub $200 box.
Yeah.
I really do.
It's just a matter of if that happens. I mean, because you've got a set that comes out soon with a Mega Dragonite and a Mega Gengar. I mean, Pokemon knows what they're doing.
Yeah, they made the mistake in the early Scarlet Violet sets, other than Obsidian. They made all the sets about, you know, the new Pokemon. Now they're like, oh no, let's revert back and make it all about the original gens, and it's taken off again. It's like a cheat code.
Yeah. But to be fair,
dude, here's the thing: Lost Origin is the same way. It's Giratina, Aerodactyl, and the 2 Pikachus.
Yeah.
The next best card is that Gengar. I mean, there's nothing else of real major value in that set. People just want a big chase, and that's kind of why the Charizard sets work. They just want that big chase.
I mean, if we're just following the same pattern of what history has shown us, I mean, you're going to need multiple sets that are going to have either cards not be worth a ton in a chase, or you're going to need the next generation. And what I mean by that is, like, if we look at Scarlet and Violet, right? Base set, Paldea, Obsidian, Paradox, Temporal. Those sets, right? I mean, take out 151. It was a specialty set, right? But if you just look at those sets, there wasn't a multitude of cards that were of extreme value to chase, right?
Well, and the pull rates were
right?
very easy.
Yeah, like it just wasn't a thing, right? And then once you hit Twilight, Surging, and everything after, all of a sudden you saw that shift.
Yeah, and so, what'd you see there? You saw Greninja?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so I guess the point that I'm articulating here is that you saw it's not 1 for 1. Don't get me wrong. It's not 1 for 1. But I feel like you kind of saw this within like previous generations with, of course, always an outlier, right? And the outlier being in the Sword and Shield era. If you look at the first couple ones, base set, Rebel Clash, Darkness Ablaze, Champions, Vivid, Shining, right? Obviously, the set that had at the time, right, the Vivid Voltage, Pikachu, that went for quite a bit at one point. And then you had, obviously, the Shining Fates Charizard that at one point went for quite a bit until those sets ended up, receding because supplies started to actually come to the market, right?
Yeah, again, printing went from 3.7 billion to 9.1 billion.
Right. And if you want to go back farther with Sun and Moon, if you want to just take the first 6 sets, right? First 7 sets, other than Burning Shadows, once again, one of those catalyst sets, it was all a very similar trend. So it does feel like Pokemon does hyper focus on having more chases in the second latter half of the set, which we've already talked about this before many times. Like,
yeah.
The best part of the generations tend to be the latter half because they have cool new art designs. There tends to be more desirable characters to chase. I guess where I'm getting at with this is that unless we see a real slowdown on the back half, kind of like we saw with a couple of bad sets with Astral Radiance and then Pokemon Go in Sword and Shield, I don't see a real situation where this truly doesn't slow down until we get into the next generation, where we're going to get a base set. We're going to get a Rebel Clash. We're going to get a
Hold
set.
on, let's throw some bullishness though. What if they commission Shinji Kanda to draw the 3 starters, and then they even pull out like some new evolutions? They throw out like a dragon type, something else in the next era, and they're all in base set. Boom.
That's fair. That could, of course, completely change it. And at that point, Pokemon 100% knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then, Pokemon is like, yo, we understand what people like and what they don't like. And so let's just keep it going.
That'd be amazing if they really pull out all the stops for a base set and just said, nope, the trend ends here.
Yeah,
This
the
base
trend
set is
ends.
going to be fire.
Dude, that would be insane if they did something like that. That would actually be mind-boggling.
I mean, they technically did with Mega. I mean, it's not a new generation, but it is a base set technically, and it's strong.
Yeah, it's just one of those sets that I mean, the Gardevoir was the only set card that was, you know, one of the more expensive ones that wasn't a part of the newest generation at the time, right? So Paldea evolved, obviously, Magikarp, and the Raichu and a couple other cards, but the set was entirely centered around
I'm talking about Mega.
Paldea. Huh?
I'm talking about the Mega evolution.
Oh, you're talking about Mega. I
Yeah.
thought you were talking about Scarlet.
Yeah, like I said, it's not technically a new generation, but it's technically a base set of this era.
Well, and that's the thing, is that's why I feel like it's not fair to compare that, because I still put it all under the same in terms of the generation. At least that's just for me personally. But I don't know. I feel like it's more or less just a continuation of the latter half of Scarlet Violet. That's how I view it, right? Because if you just look at the amount of sets that we got for Scarlet and Violet, like, we got significantly less compared to Sword and Shield.
We got 10 instead of 12 mainline.
Yeah. And then you got to include, obviously, the multiple specialty sets in between. Yeah. So the 10.5 and 12.5.
Well, we got black and white. We only missed out on like 3 sets. It's not crazy.
Maybe I'm wrong. Let me double check.
So we got black and white, shrouded, prismatic, Paldean, and 151. That's 5 specialties. So we only really missed out on 2 mainline and 1 specialty. It's not crazy.
17 sets in Sword and Shield.
We got 15.
Uh, 14.
14. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, 14. So we missed out on 3. Yeah, we missed out on 3. So then, if that's the case, I wonder how many mega. I mean, we've talked about this, right? It's going to be mega until the end of this next year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have a specialty. We'll have probably 2 more than another specialty.
Yeah. I mean, they're just doing more sets than before a new generation. Yeah, they're just doing more.
Man, take some questions.
Yeah. Oh my God, we've been going for so long. Yeah, we'll start taking questions. Make sure, guys, leave a like, comment down below, subscribe. Really helps the channel. We'll start taking questions as always, in all caps. Write question, follow it up with what your question is. And yes, we did start early today, so we said, you know what? Let's just go early today. Why not?
Well,
actually, that's a lie. I didn't recognize the time zone difference yet, and so I completely forgot. And so I was like supposed to show up an hour late, but I ended up showing up early. Obviously.
We had to make up for all the times we're late.
Yeah. Question: I have some tag 10s of all the major chase cards from Sword and Shield. I found that vendors are not willing to buy or trade for these cards. It's basically PSA 10 or nothing.
I mean, here's the thing. I tell people this all the time, and I consistently get pushback and blowback, and I get called names and stuff. Guys, I have and have never had a sponsorship or any affiliation with PSA. I don't push them for, and I just sold all my slabs. I don't even have, so I have no reason to push PSA other than literally trying to help you guys out. People want PSA. If you want to take a chance and go for the Beckett Black Label Pristine, go for it. People don't want 9.5s from Beckett. People don't want tag. They don't, I mean, some people want CGC Pristine, but nobody wants CGC Gem Mint 10 or under. PSA is, and the reason I say PSA over CGC is because if you look at the return on your investment, if you take the amount of cards that get pristine 10s with CGC compared to regular Gem Mint or less, and the same percentage that get 10s on PSA, you're better off just getting all PSA 10s on those cards that are good enough to get them than getting some that get pristine and some that don't, because it'll average out to still more liquidity with PSA and probably better returns. And so the fact of the matter is, PSA is the behemoth of the industry. They're the one that everyone wants. They're the one everyone wants to work with. When other companies start getting pretty big, they usually buy them out and just it's like, I don't know why people want to fight it. Like, go the path of least resistance. Stop trying to fight it, guys.
I I'm not a fan of PSA, but they sadly are the market standard.
And again, it's nothing about what you or me or anyone likes or trying to push anything or have. No, it's nothing more than that's just what the market tells you. You have to go off what the market tells you.
Yeah, no, it's much as I hate to say it, having a perfect card matters less, which is stupid. It shouldn't be that way, but that's just what the market is right now.
Yeah, I mean, guys, there's probably, I don't even know, it has to be probably 1% or less of the market that cares about the card, right? The whole people that say buy the card, not the grade. That is such a small niche segment of the hobby that actually cares that deeply. People want the number. They want it to say PSA 10. They don't care that you think your PSA 9 or your, tag 10 or whatever is a better, cleaner card. They don't care. They want PSA 10 to say on it. It's the way it is.
Only Black Label Beckett 10, I feel like, is the outlier of that.
And there's a reason those have the prices they do.
Eli, are your allocation for your distro programs and your LGS separate? Nope, they're all the same. So we allocate everything all within a split pool. So the wholesale program gets like 96% of everything, and then the shop takes like 5% of the overall pool. If you're put in charge of Pokemon TCG, what would you change? What would 3 changes you would make? What would be 3 changes you would make?
You want me to go?
Yeah, go. Yeah, of course.
I mean, I already like what they're doing now. I would continue the same strategy of, I would probably put 1 wave of booster boxes out, and that would be it. And everything else would be printed in other ancillary items and collection boxes and other ways to get packs to market, and continue to do what they're doing with reprinting playable cards, putting them out in battle decks and theme decks or whatever, making sure that players could get cheap cards for decks, making sure everyone could get cheap packs, but also keeping an item like a booster box for collectors and investors to actually hold value and have scarcity. So I love that. That's one thing I would continue to do. I would, I don't know. I would try to crack down on the early release stuff. I would, really try to, I don't know, almost get, I don't know if there's contracts or get contracts in place with people who have distribution, with shops, with distributors, making sure that this product can stop finding its way to the market as easy as it does early, to make sure that there's an actual meaningful release date to this stuff. So I think that's a big problem, is like, by the time the set's actually released, it's almost like getting old to people because they've seen it open for weeks now because of all the things that leak out. And apparently Pokemon's just not doing anything to stop that seemingly at this point. So that's another thing I would do. And then the third thing is, man, I don't know, man, maybe like, maybe like 1 set a year, 1 specialty set a year that wasn't a playable set. I would make it for collectors, dude. And I think I'd probably go serialized.
That's crazy.
I want to see serialized, dude. Hey, DJ Poker Center said it before I said it. I'd add some serialized cards once a year. There we go. So someone else is feeling that way.
I don't think you're going to be in the minority with that stance.
Oh, I'm definitely the minority. Every time I bring it up, I get clobbered, dude.
Interesting.
Yeah, people hate the serialized idea. What are your 3, though?
For me, I think that number 1, I would change the game. I mean, realistically, I would change the game, because here's the thing. Like, I think that there's so much value that could be added into sealed products, but like, it is straight up just degeneracy. Like, Pokemon opening is straight up degeneracy. Whereas like with Magic, and I mean, you're seeing this within the Magic space right now, right? There is a huge clash going on.
You're saying the game is degeneracy?
No. I'm saying opening Pokemon is straight degeneracy.
How is
because
that?
If you're
you
opening,
mean like change the game, or are you talking about the gameplay?
Here, let me explain and let me get to my point. If someone opens Magic, they go through every single card and they look at each card and they say, wow, this could be good for my deck. Wow, this is a really cool card. Oh my God, this uncommon card is worth $5 because it's a really good card that you can put in any sort of color deck. You know what I mean? And then you get to the chase card. For Pokemon people, they just shred through 90% of the pack and they're just like, did I get an IR? Did I get an SIR? That's it, right? And so when I say that they need to change the game, I guess what I'm trying to articulate is that they need to focus on having a way to add more value to the competitive cards. I don't know if that means printing less ancillary products like battle decks and toolkits that push out. I don't think that's necessarily the problem. I think you just need to find a way to like invigorate a lot more of a change in your game because it's boring. Like it's not that great of a game. And I feel like if you can just make it a better game and then you can incorporate a system that allows you to have more value within it when it comes to deck building. And some people might hate that because they're going to say, well, I don't want my game to be Magic where it's super duper expensive to like play. And I get that to a certain extent, but like I don't feel like it's that much of a hot take just to like have a conversation about having some cards in decks that go for like 10 to 15 bucks or $20 to add in one of your like your decks. You know what I mean?
How
Cuz
would you do that though? You would like short print some of the uncommons or something?
how you would do that is in a multitude of different ways. Is it would either be you would just completely have to change the systems of how the game operates, as much as I hate to say it. And you would have to incorporate different mechanics with different cards and give them different rarities. And so what I mean by that is you would have to have specific cards like, ace cards, and you
Yeah.
would have to give them significant more value so that if you get an ace card in a box, it's not one of these things where it's like, great, here's another $1 card that just added value to my box like minimally. It's like, no, I now have an ace card that I just got that was 20 bucks. And although I'm not a collector, this is now a player piece that could be worth significantly more value. Because that's the thing about Magic is like, although it's more inversed and you don't see as big of like collector pieces, you still see them and you can still pull things that are player pieces that are going to be worth a good amount of value because of how strong the cards are. And so Pokemon, all they're really doing to power creep is they don't change the mechanics. Pokemon mechanics very rarely change when it comes to the actual game itself. Like, sure, they'll have like a new thing that they'll add, like, with this era, we're having a new Poke ability that people can have, or we're going to have single strike versus mega strike. Not really much changes. I mean, ultimately, all you're seeing is more HP and more damage. That's literally it. That's all they're doing. If you go look at the history of Pokemon, you had Pokemon when they first came out, biggest HP was 120, then 200, then 250, then 300, and it just keeps going up. And so it doesn't incite value based off of actual strength of cards outside of just literally the stats on the Pokemon itself. And a lot of the abilities that like certain Pokemon have that are strong, they're the same abilities that they've been using forever throughout the game that they just cycle in and out of rotation based upon which sets are in or out of rotation. And then they just do print variations of different Pokemon or different cards. And that just affects the pricing. Like that's straight up it. And so it's just really boring. Like I feel like they just need to shake it up.
All right.
I think that's one of the big things I think would be good for the hobby overall. That's just my personal opinion. Um, I think another thing that I don't know if this is necessarily a good thing. I think Pokemon, one thing I would change, I think they need to be more transparent about how they handle printing. And so, because this question is, if you were put in charge of TCG, what would you do? It doesn't necessarily mean like what would I print or what art designs would I change. It just said if I were to put in charge of it, what would I do, right? And so for me, I think transparency on printing is a valuable thing, because right now, like there's so much vagueness going on in the space, and there's such a lack of understanding of what's going on. And maybe there's more legal, maybe there's more legality to it than I realize, and it's entirely possible. But it would be so nice to know if Pokemon had just more like statements coming out talking about their belief in the state of what they think is appropriate to print. I'm not saying that they have to come out and say, hey, this is the final print of a product. We're not printing anymore. Get in when we still can. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that Pokemon comes out and they don't muddy the waters on like what they want to hyper focus on printing. You know what I mean? Because there was such a long like conversation about Evolving Skies. Why would they print Evolving Skies? Like, why wouldn't they print Evolving Skies? It's going for over $200, $300, $400. It never got printed, right? I think Pokemon
Evolving Skies reprint's still coming, dude. Just
right.
wait.
I think Pokemon should be more transparent about their kind of philosophy of what causes them to print things and what causes them not to print things, so we could have a better understanding from a consumer perspective, right? Because the fact of the matter is, as a consumer, because of the way in which the market is currently, there are so many more casual people that are in this hobby that are being now exposed to market price, and it's affecting psychologically how they perform buys, when that's not how it was originally. Originally, it was like, let me go to a store, let me buy a product, boom. You can't do that anymore because of scalpers. So people are going to have to play this game of like, okay, should I buy the product now or wait until it gets reprinted, or is it just going to keep going up? And even if it, you know what I mean? Like, this is a conversation that a casual consumer shouldn't have to think about. A casual consumer should brain dead be able to go into a store and buy a product, but that's not happening. So that's another thing I would say I would change, is just be more transparent in that regards, just so that at least consumers can be more informed and don't have to play the game. And then number 3, like, if it were me, I'm not saying we do mapping. I think mapping's a dumb idea. You've seen it fail in Flesh and Blood. It's not successful. But I do think that when it comes to the space itself, it's so funny to see how like Pokemon is pushing a lot of their product into big box retailers. And I think it's been a huge failure point. And the reason why I say that is because more prevalently than ever, botting has been such a huge issue. And a lot of these big box retailers push their supply online before they do in stores. And so I think that if there was something I would change, it would be the scale of distribution and the policies that I would implement into limitations on things for those that I choose to allow to carry my product. And then also as well, the kind of handling and or procedural process in which a company sells my product. And now maybe there's once again some legalistic perspective, because you can't tell a business whether they're allowed to sell their stuff online versus in store. I get that. So then just change the distribution of your product and how much you're putting one place or another. Because ultimately, I think that this might be a crazy take to say. I think there's a real argument to be made that there's a huge exacerbation of this issue, not because there's not enough being printed, but because of the way in which Pokemon's being distributed. There's so much less that's being put into LGSs, and a lot of LGSs aren't going to be able to push the near scale of demand that Pokemon can push onto big box retailers. And so because of that, you tend to see a lot more volatile of a market when you go to like LGSs on their pricing, because they're just not going to be able to take in a large amount and just sell it all within a week. Target can do that. Walmart can do that. They've got multiple different streams of ways they can go about that. And so you have to be able to find a way to where you can push this product to consumers within a more controlled system, or I would argue a more protected system from scalpers. Because at the end of it all, like, you're not going to get that if you're selling the majority of your product at big box retailers, because those big box retailers are going to have a way to like distribute amongst multiple locations, and those multiple locations are going to have a multitude of different scalpers that are going to just sit there and they're just going to keep buying it as it keeps getting pushed. Like, you have to have better mechanisms and systems in place to stop scalping, to stop botting, and to find out like, okay, if I'm going to put this product out there, how am I going to make it to where you're not going to see like the likelihood of these things playing a major factor on the price of my products? Because that's just kind of where my mind is.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know, maybe it's a hot take. Maybe some people are going to say I'm biased because I own an LGS, but it just makes sense to me that that's part and parcel one of the reasons why things are failing. I mean, you have people literally going into Costco fighting over product, and you just now have some big box retailers finally implementing like policies for limitations, whereas LGSs never had to do that because it went off of a market price, and you kind of want to have the market do its thing. but you can't let the market do its thing when you're setting a straight price at a big box retailer, because they're always going to be at one specific price. And so if it's under that specific price of what market is, then you're going to, of course, incentivize there to be scalping. That's not going to happen in an LGS because it's always going to be going off of what the market standard is. An LGS goes off of market. It doesn't go off of MSRP. And that's why I think there's an argument that MSRP is actually bad for the hobby. Sounds crazy, but that's my kind of thing I would say I would change.
I like how you just said that and it wasn't me.
I mean, it's true though. It is legitimately true. If you went into a big box retail store and it was the exact price of market, would there be a scalper buying that product?
Eli, out of all these years of you staying out of the drama limelight, I think that one statement you just made is going to put you right in the center of it, baby.
Fine, dude. I'm just saying.
Welcome. Hey, welcome to the game.
If you got rid of MSRP, you get rid of scalpers. I just solved your problem. Like, legitimately. Scalpers buy product that they can make money on. And MSRP is their floor. That is their wholesale. If you got rid of that by either redirecting where the product is being distributed, because obviously, stores, LGSs like myself, we don't go off of MSRP, we go off of market. You're going to see a lot less product being scalped because it's not going to be put in places to be scalped because those places are selling for MSRP. So you will see a natural shift in the market where prices will correct if you send them to LGSs, because scalpers will no longer be in this hobby nearly as much because there's less product out there for them to scalp at MSRP. So it sounds crazy to say, but that's just how market works. Like, that's just how markets work. But I don't know. Those are my 3 things I would change. They were very in depth, so sorry it took so long to answer the question.
I like it.
So it's just I think that's what I would do. But do you have any things you want to say, or do you want to move on? I apologize.
No, that's perfect. I mean, I like my answers, I like your answers. They're both different. I think that's a lot of good constructive advice there.
Yeah. Is selling XY and Sun and Moon booster boxes slabs and going all in on ETBs for Mega Dream the play? Specialty sets are fire lately.
It's definitely like, I understand the play, right? Because it does seem like there are like unofficial ceilings to this stuff. I mean, other than like the top tier boxes, you look at the Gold Star boxes, you look at like the Neo boxes, maybe some others, obviously some first ed boxes. They break those glass ceilings of like 10 to 20K. A lot of the other mid-era sets have all kind of like stabilized in like the thousands and like teens, right? And that could just be where a lot of these sets are going to end up in Sun and Moon and XY. And, you probably have a lot better chance of buying into boxes that are 200-300 and those going to, a couple thousand one day than a lot of these boxes you're trying to make a 10X on going from like 2,000 to 20,000. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like a bad idea to me. I mean, now all in on Mega Dream specifically, I don't know about that, but like, in terms of like going in on newer boxes at much lower price points, I do like that idea.
I'm not mad at it. I mean, you're going to typically have a lot higher of an opportunity for like a percentage gain on newer product. But it's obviously going to be more volatile because it's in print. So you just have to kind of play your cards there. Higher risk, higher reward.
Always keep cash on the sidelines. Always be willing to dollar cost average down. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Answer: ripping ships are blasting through packs. I would guess to mean at least 20x.
Oh, that was back when we were asking how many people.
In your opinion, will PF outpace any boxes from the Scarlet and Violet era over the next 4 to 5 years?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't you think so?
Sorry, Paldean Fates, right?
No, I think he means Phantasmal Flames.
Okay, sorry. I see PF and I'm just like so confused. Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, it will.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll outpace base set. It'll probably outpace Obsidian, probably Paradox, probably Stellar, probably Journey.
I almost missed this one because it wasn't in caps, but Fruity Pebbles or Cocoa Pebbles?
Dude, I feel like it's whenever the mood strikes. I mean,
That's
if
honestly
I had to
not.
pick one, I'll take the cocoa.
Dude, I've never had Fruity Pebbles.
Stop it.
Yeah, I've never had them.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what I'm talking about. I've never had Fruity Pebbles.
Did
Never
you
had
grow
them.
up like on Earth?
I had a Cocoa Pebbles. Dude, I grew up in a family that if I wanted sugar cereal, I got it for my birthday once a year.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. No, you know what I grew up on? I grew up on Trader Joe's Panda Puffs. That was as good as it
They
got for
had
sugar
Trader
cereal.
Joe's back then?
Or like Trader Joe's O's. That's
How
what I
long has
grew up
Trader
on.
Joe's been around? I didn't even know they were that old.
I mean, yeah, dude, I've been there from the beginning. So for me, I only had Cocoa Pebbles one time because a buddy hyped it up so much and I had it and I was like, this is not good. And it sucked because as someone who loves the crap out of chocolate Rice Krispies, the Cocoa Pebbles were not cocoa-y enough. I feel like
Yeah.
hot take. I've had Cocoa Pebbles. I've had chocolate Rice Krispies. The chocolate Rice Krispies are chocolatier, and that's what I liked about it more.
Oh, you think they're chocolatier?
I think they're chocolatier
Oh,
than
I thought you
Cocoa
meant
Pebbles.
the other way around. That's crazy.
No. I liked Rice Krispies more than the Cocoa Pebbles because I felt like it was chocolatier. I felt like the Cocoa Pebbles, the minute it hit the bowl, all of the chocolate went away and it just went into the milk, which is not bad. Like I like drinking chocolate milk. That's one of the best parts about having sugar cereal. But like, it just tasted like I was just straight up having like just not a lot of flavor cereal. So I'm probably gonna get grilled to the steak for this statement. So I apologize for upsetting anyone, but
Oh, they're already mad at you for saying the MSRP is bad for the hobby. You can say whatever you want now.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So I've never had Fruity Pebbles, man. I've had Tricks. Does that count as a fruity thing that I've had?
That's close.
Dude, I remember like, oh my God, throwback like story, like nostalgia when I was a kid. I remember I had went over to a buddy's house that I was staying at for a couple days and their parents let them have sugar cereal and they had Tricks. And it was like one of the first times I ever had like sugar cereal in my life. And so I was so excited that I ate like 3 bowls and then threw it all up because I had never had the opportunity to have it. So I just ate as much as I possibly could.
What do
Dude,
you eat like now as an adult? Like when you turned an adult, did you like just like binge hard?
I don't know the last time I've had sugar cereal in my house. I'm gonna be honest.
But like, what about when you like first like went to college or something? Did you just like binge?
I will say that when I was like my senior year of high school, early college, I had a buddy of mine. Oh my God. This is pre-COVID, right? This is like 24/7 Walmarts. My buddy and I, what we would do is we would have Walmart runs that we would do together. And so we would straight up like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. go to Walmart and we would just get like all the garbage, like powdered donuts, like Little Debbie's, like gallon ice cream for like a couple bucks. Like we just got all the garbage, like Takis, like everything, dude. It was great. But that was back when like it was 24/7 Walmart and it was just really fun to go with you and a group of friends. You guys have been playing video games. Like, okay, now I'm going to get real deep and personal. You would be doing zombies runs with your buddies. For those of you guys that played Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3 zombies, you'd be up to like 1 or 2 in the morning, hanging out, trying to do all the Easter eggs. And you're like, yo, let's get like a snack at like 2 in the morning. Let's all go to Walmart because they're open 24/7. Let's go hit it up, go crazy, and then get a bunch of snacks and foods. And then while we're at it, we're hitting up the 24/7 Walmart, buying the buy one, get one for $1. That was me when I was
Dude,
at
you
my
gotta
worst
hit
in
up
terms of
Jack in
eating
the
garbage.
Box and get the tacos.
You said Jack in the Box?
Jack in the Box, and you gotta get the 2 for $1 tacos back then.
Dude, I never was like, I've never heard anyone like Jack in the Box. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Stop it.
I had
Dude,
it one
all right,
time.
just stop.
I had it one time and I got sick and then never had it again. And I feel like every person I've talked to has had the same story about Jack in the Box.
That's wild.
Yeah, literally. Nah, dude. McDonald's was where my heart was. That was, oh man. Now buy one, get one for $1 are outrageous, bro. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know. I was definitely a little bit more of like a sugar person when I was a senior in high school and like a freshman in college. I definitely like let loose quite a bit. But now that I'm older, like, dude, I don't know the last time I like, and plus two, the like, I don't know, call me nostalgic, but like, it's not the same anymore. Like, you know, things are way more expensive than they were before. A lot of McDonald's and the ones I used to go to and the Walmarts are not 24/7 anymore. They close at 10 o'clock. And so, like, it's no longer this, like, you're hanging out with your friends late. Let's go hit up and get snacks. It's like, no, we got to get there by 10, which is kind of boring. Like,
It is crazy, right? Life definitely changed from COVID.
yeah, it's been awful since then, bro. It
Yeah.
sucks. I miss 24/7 things. Like, it was
I mean,
great.
there's like we have some McDonald's that are 24/7, and like Taco Bell is usually open till like 3 a.m. Obviously, White Castle. You guys have White Castle, right?
In my hometown we didn't, but in Arizona, yeah, we have White
Like they're
Castle.
24/7 usually.
Yeah. Well, in my
Yeah.
hometown, it was a smaller hometown than where I live now, obviously. So they had a lot less stuff. Like, they didn't have an In-N-Out, they didn't have a White Castle, they didn't have a Whataburger. Like,
When I used to like do snow removal, you know, a lot of times it would be like overnight for my lawn care company. We'd always stop at White Castle like for
yeah, that was the
you have
spot.
you have to eat something. It's like the only thing that was ever open.
And it was cheap, man. It was cheap. It was nice. Yeah, bro. It's definitely one of those things where it's funny because people are like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but people are like, man, you guys are just nostalgic. Like, things weren't better than they were now. You're just looking at it through like a rose colored lens. But I completely disagree. I think that,
Well, again, we can take emotions out of it. There was more choices back then, which I mean, that's better, right? Like
yeah,
there was more things open later. There was more varieties of things on the shelves. Like that can't be denied. Like there were more flavors of everything. There were more varieties of like all these things on the shelves, which have all kind of been taken down. So like, I mean, if you know, having more choices and more variety of things open and things on the shelves, I think that means things were better.
I think the thing that pisses me off more than anything is I feel like I'm being gaslit by a lot of these companies because I was like, man, I remember this tasting so much better when I was younger. Am I just crazy? But then realizing that a lot of them, because of inflation, completely changed the ingredients of
Yes.
their product because it was cheaper and worse quality now. And so because of it, the flavoring is just way worse. And it just angers me to no end because you now can't have that same flavor because they've just completely changed the ingredients.
Yeah, it sucks.
Dude, that's what pisses me off the most.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, okay, yeah. We keep going on forever, so I won't get into it, but you kind of get the point. So things sadly have
Good
changed a
call in
lot.
the chat too. Waffle House needs to be put up there
Dude, Waffle House needs to be.
24/7.
Dude, I went to my Waffle. Okay, so they didn't have a Waffle House in my small town, right? They didn't have a lot of things in my small town. I had Waffle House for the first time 2 months ago, and
First time ever?
I went there, dude, because I didn't know what it was about. But people talk about it on social media, and I went there, and my buddy just goes like, "See, the problem with you, Eli, is you went here sober. Like, that's what your deal is, dude. Like, you gotta go here. Like, you just got absolutely blasted, and you're just hungry. Like, just
Dude, the one
how's
thing
this
I
Waffle?"
love though about Waffle House, dude, like in any restaurant like that, I love when the food's cooked right in front of me.
Yeah,
I like that, like hibachi. Like it's just I don't know, it gives you something more to like the transparency of like, okay,
I thought I
I
was gonna
saw
get,
everything cooked, nothing's done to it.
dude. I thought I was gonna get shot when I went in the Waffle House. I was like, "Whoa, what environment
Was it
am
like a
I
bad
in?"
area?
And he's like, "Dude, no, it's in a nice area, but you would think you'd be in a bad area because it's a Waffle House." It was definitely not what I was expecting. I'll tell you that. All right, let's move on to more Pokemon stuff. What do you guys think with the release of Gen 10, a Mega Evo release or an SV release? Hype or not hype? Yeah, what do you think when Gen
I'm
10
always
releases?
gonna give the bullish take. I'm gonna hope for Shinji Kanda art. I'm gonna hope for like a new evolution, some new hype Pokemon that everyone's gonna love. Like, I'm gonna hope for that.
Yeah. I think I think that it's likely that we'll see a slowdown going into Gen 10 is my belief. But that's just based on the fact that if we don't get a new Eevee and a Shinji Kanda art design and we just get a plain old base set with some SIRs and IRs or whatever rarity they say, what, dude?
Whatever rarity they say.
I mean, because think about it. What's the difference between an SIR and an alternate art?
Well, they're sparkly borders.
Oh my God, this guy. So let's just get an SIR, but without sparkly borders. My bad. Calling an alt art.
What if they have like 3D cards?
Oh, dude, I do like lenticular. I think the lenticular Deoxys is sick. That's one of my favorite cards.
Did you see that this message is held for review?
I did not. Wait, where is that?
I'm going to show it.
What's the timestamp?
It just happened. Must have been a Waffle House by the strip club near South Mountain. Why did that get held by YouTube?
That is weird because he said by the strip club near South Mountain.
I approved it, Pokebongs. We're good. You got approved here in our PG-13 stream, apparently.
My wife let me choose the cards. Now my portfolio has crashed 50% and she won't take me back. Please help.
I feel like I've heard this on a Dave Ramsey show.
Right. My wife left me. Sorry. Sometimes I read the comments on the side and not in the front of the screen. So I'm reading it in such smaller font. My wife left me when I choose the cards. Now the portfolio. My wife left me when I choose the cards. Now my
let's say chose. I think you meant chose.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Now my portfolio has crashed 50%. She won't take me back. Help.
Like I said, I feel like I've seen this plot on a Dave Ramsey call.
It is. Or a Caleb Hammer. That's another one.
Caleb Hammer, you're one of those.
As a store, if a product costs $250, it's okay to sell at $200. Like probably the customer will buy it at $250, but probably you can sell more at $200. What would you guys do?
So the problem with that is, yes, if it was basically like unlimited product you could get, 100%. The issue is stores need to price things with the understanding that they're not getting more. Like, because after the second wave of Phantasmal, there's no telling when you're going to get more. And so it's like, do I want to have product on the shelves and let it sell slower? Or do I want to blow it out, give people a good deal, but then they come back and like, I have nothing to sell them because I blew everything out at good deals and everyone's happy, but now I have nothing more on my shelves because Pokemon doesn't have any more. Distros have nothing to give me. So there's like a balance there where you have to like make sure you have stuff in stock. So I think that's the reason that people can't do that right now is because there's just no product to go around and they have to think about having stuff on their shelves.
Yeah, I think it's also tough too because like I know we're talking Pokemon here, but like Magic, for example, the new Avatar set, dude, like I'm looking at some of the prices that the play boxes and other ancillary product is selling for, and it's expensive compared to what you'll typically see for standard sets, but how much they're charging us as like retailers is outrageous. Like the margins
what is a collector box?
Are horrible. They're charging, depending upon the distro, they're charging like around $300. That's how much we're paying. But like
so
for a play,
you're complaining about like selling for $5.
But no. What I mean is like, for like a play box, for example, we're buying play boxes for 120. We usually buy them for like in the mid 90s. Yeah. And margin, I mean, I don't know what it is right now since I last looked, but like
that's rough.
Yeah, the plays last time I saw were selling for like what, 160? Okay, so it looks like they've actually gone up a little bit, which is nice. But dude, like,
yeah, and this is defeating the whole purpose of what the collector boxes. I mean, why are play boxes going up so much? Isn't the point to have a product that's cheap for players to be able to play and draft and open, and the collector boxes are for those that want to chase those crazy high-end cards? Like, why are they upping the play boxes so expensive now?
Yeah, dude, it was crazy. I mean, I was stunned to see. So yeah, the margins on that is 25% margin, which I mean, it's not bad. Like
for me, I think it's crazier to have a play box at 120 than it is a collector box at 300.
No, I agree. And it sucks too, because there was a lot of product that we picked up that we were selling for and probably getting about 10% margin on for the new Avatar set because of the market price.
Yeah.
So it's rough. And like the thing is too, if you're coming into a shop, a lot of people are looking for the collectors more than the plays. And so you might say to yourself like, oh, well, at least you got the collectors that have, better margin. Like you're getting 40% margin on the collectors instead of 25% with the plays, but the plays are just sitting. Like people are not buying the plays. You saw this with Spider-Man more prevalently, and it's continuing with Avatar. So
And with
I get
10%,
the point that
you can't exactly move them online.
well, yeah, if you move them online, your margins are cooked because if we just say that right now, we'll go with 170 because that's what it's at right now, right? If you just take the 13% the TCG player is going to charge you, you go down to 147, then you take another $10 that you're paying for the shipping cost. You're now saying you're right at around 10, $15 that you're making, right?
Which is
But
honestly like it's kind of how it traditionally was.
exactly. My point is that right now, like people will look and say to themselves, like, wow, retailers are gouging me because they're obviously making so much money off this product. They must be charging me high because they're just greedy. No, we're not making insane margins on some of these products. Like
Yeah,
the
those drop
margin
to
on
like
these
150,
products,
you're basically done.
yeah, like the margins on some of these products are horrific because the other places like the Wizards of the Coast or whatever you want to say, Hasbro is charging us an insane amount of money for the product. So, which I get it, like it's an IP release, right? So it's a Universes Beyond, so they have to pay for the licensing rights, but still, it's like, man, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I don't know, guys. I guess my take is like, although there's always an argument that people could be charging outrageous prices because they're super greedy, but like you also have to take into consideration, okay, what do they buy the product for, right? Whether that be from the distributor or from the secondary market just to get supply. I own some solid Golden Age comic books, but the market feels weak. Considering selling some to invest in sealed Pokemon, though I'm unsure if I'm being impatient or wrong. Any advice?
I don't have any advice, man. I don't know the comic world.
I don't know the comic world either, sadly. I wish I could answer your question, but will I assume that's supposed to be will we see a bounce back with Dream, seeing how strong the set seems to be? Gengar, Dragonite, Pikachu, Mewtwo, Charizard, Y, Lily, and Marnie.
A bounce back from what? A bounce back from $250 and $300 boxes? Is that something we need to bounce back from?
The market crash, Alex. A bounce back from the market crash.
And Abraham, I love, I know him. Like, dude, what are you talking about, bro? Like, I don't think we need to bounce back from anything. I think we're doing extremely well. I think these prices are extremely strong. I don't know, man. I don't even know how to answer that. I really don't. I don't know what we need to bounce back from.
It looks like it's going to be a strong set.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers the question. Do you ever reach out to Rudy or Alpha Investments, in other words, for some sort of collaboration?
That's the bucket list. Like that's the dream stream. If
I told
that ever
Alex,
happens.
I told Alex that if he was able to get Rudy in contact with him, that he had to get me in on that because I would be very disappointed not to be a part of something like that. It'd be super fun.
Yeah, I've never had a chance to talk to Rudy. But yeah, that'd be like the bucket list dream stream one day. Hopefully maybe like if he ever like slows down on his business and stuff, maybe he'll want to do some live streams and stuff. I just think he doesn't really do them. Maybe he's too busy. Maybe he's just doesn't want to do them. I know he did like an interview way back in the day with somebody from the Magic world, and that's like the only collab stream I remember him ever doing. But yeah, man, he's always welcome in either of our channels. That's for sure.
When the heck are we getting more Destined? Pull the 8-ball out.
Got it, dude. It's already out. When are we? I can't ask it that.
Are we going to get more Destined Rivals within the next, what do you think? 6 months or a year? What's a good one?
6 months.
6 months.
8-ball says cannot predict now.
Oh my god.
Let's go to a year.
A year? Okay.
1 year. As I see it, yes.
Oh,
so sometime between 6 months to a year, it seems like we're gonna see something.
Right.
8-ball has spoken.
Dude, the 8-ball knows what's going on. 8-ball knows what's going on. Oh my gosh. I think I've seen it all, guys. Agent Crypto made a post that wasn't related to Hidden Fates. Will 151 appreciate better than Prismatic because the amount of sealed product type is 33% less than Prismatic?
You know, probably.
Probably.
I mean, I think they're both kind of on the same level, and if one is more scarce than the other, and obviously one's more like iconic, you know. Yeah, I could see 151 doing better than Prismatic, especially with them continuing to print more and more of it. It's going to take Prismatic longer, like to reach those kind of prices.
Yeah, I agree with that. That makes the most sense to me. Yes, the wholesale program is still full. I think I've said this before. Wholesale program is going to be full for a while, guys. I mean, the big thing about that is, just like everyone else, scarcity is a problem. We're dealing with that in the wholesale program. So we're actually doing this thing where someone leaves the program, we're closing their spot. And so we're going to keep doing that until we don't have any issues with scarcity. So once we start to see a cool down in the market and everyone is feeding and feeling good about how much they're getting in the program, aka 100% allocation allotments are being filled, and we're ordering less than what we can get filled for, that's when I'll open spots up again. But until then, for the foreseeable future, I don't see there being a value adding in spots. I care more about people that are in the program enjoying the program than me opening up another spot just to make more money. I want people happy for what they're paying for. Is now the perfect time to buy, or do you see further downward movement? I have cash waiting to pounce and need your advice. He needs your advice, Alex.
I think it's a case by case basis. You know, I think certain things will continue to see price decreases, especially the sets that are getting more prints coming. I think other things could be stabilizing. I mean, I think a lot of like we just talked about Lost Origin, Chilling Rain. You know, I think those are good pickups. Maybe even Paldea Evolve boxes. Now they've retraced so much, they're going out of print soon. Like any of the early SV block or Sword and Shield that we're seeing, you know, these massive reductions in. I would start to feel like it's you know, safer to start picking up positions there, like not go all in, but start to, you know, building positions in. But then like the brand new stuff, I wouldn't be like feeling like you need to go all in on Phantasmal Flames at $300 a box, or, you know, any of this brand new stuff. So case by case basis.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea to like enter into or dollar cost averaging into positions like Lost Origin and some of these other older products that are going to be really safe. I mean, they're very safe pickups, and now's your chance to get a little bit of a discount, which I feel like always feels good. But if you're someone that's like, oh, is now the time to go like all in? I don't think so, but now is definitely not a bad time to pick a little bit up and then still keep some on the sideline.
Yeah, I mean, and we were talking about before stream, but like, you know, the crypto markets are something to watch, right? Like there's a correlation between crypto and these collectibles now, and Bitcoin is now under 92,000, at least for the time being, on the current tick. Now it just ticked over, so it's right around 92. In my personal opinion, I think Bitcoin's going to drop back in the 80s, and so I think we're just going to have kind of a consolidation right now on a lot of things, and just like little less, you know, sales volume, all those types of things. But again, it's hard to tell which sets are going to get hit and which ones aren't.
I mean, the correlation, I mean, we've been talking about this for years now, or at least it feels like I don't know. I've been talking about this since the beginning of my YouTube channel, the correlation between crypto and Pokemon, because for some reason, it's just one of the things that I feel like I've noticed. Like,
yeah, you were early on it.
Literally right now, we are seeing a correction in both areas once again. Just pay attention to that kind of thing, guys, because it could be another market indicator.
You were one of the first people saying that, I feel like.
Yeah, the two things I talked about was when I first was early on was I was always talking about crypto correlation, and then the other thing was Google search results, because there was
Yeah.
a huge correlation in Google search results for Pokemon cards, um, and how much was being searched compared to prices on product. It was like wickedly similar. It was crazy. So those are two things that I feel like are still important indicators to take a look at. Have you heard about the scandal with PSA? Sorry if you've answered already. I'm late.
I have not.
I have not either.
Big Papa, if you're still in here, dude, leave a message in the bottom of the chat, and I'll try to keep an eye out for it. What happened, or if
Yeah.
anyone else knows.
We get asked this question every week. Anything that's slept on right now that you feel like it's worth picking up?
Anything that's slept on?
Yeah.
Not really, man. I think a lot of like people's favorite slabs and favorite singles, especially from early Scarlet Violet, Sword and Shield, we're seeing pretty decent sized drops right now. If you've been waiting to collect any of those like those high end cards you always loved, I think now could start to be the time to start taking a look at those and maybe buy in. Take a look at some of the charts and how they performed in the past. Their other boom and bust periods, and I mean I think it'll give you a good idea of a buying range, because I think a lot of those cards are starting to reach. So maybe take a look at maybe some alt arts or other things like that you may have been wanting. Okay. He says PSA has been offering people 3K for a 10 sent to the vault. Then it arrives. The offer is 1,600. I don't know about that. I haven't seen any proof. I know Pokey Plumber talked about it, I believe. Again, guys, I don't, you know how I am. I only operate on facts, not, I had a big thing with Poke Notify and then Anon TCG. There's always like these rumors of reprints and restocks. Some of them come true, some of them don't. I know Poke Plumber put out a video about the PSA thing. There were no receipts on it, so I don't know.
No receipts, huh?
Gotta have
I've
receipts,
heard that
man.
before.
Gotta have receipts.
Oh my God, I lied, Alex. I lied.
There it is.
There it is.
Hidden Fates, 400 still a play, baby.
I'd rather have 151.
Would you?
Yes.
At 400, huh?
Yes. If it's between the two, yes. Hidden Fates has shown so much weakness in the long term. I don't feel good about it just now because it's popping off. That doesn't give me confidence that it's going to be. 151 has shown so much more strength in the past several years compared to Hidden Fates. Hidden Fates took so long to get to 400 from 170 compared to 151 getting to 400. I'm not going to change it up now just because Hidden Fates finally is making moves.
Yeah, the only thing I wonder about is like, is there going to come a time where the other products are going to have to catch up a bit price per pack wise before the ETBs move again?
It's possible.
Whereas like with Hidden Fates, the price per pack is basically already caught up. Like if you add up 10 Hidden Fates packs plus the promo, it's maybe a little bit less. There's a little premium, but like, man, the ETB premium is like, even if you take into account the cost of the card, it is astronomical over like a bundle or a Blooming Waters or something.
I'm just out on Hidden Fates, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm just out on it. I used to be someone that, like, when the reprint first happened with Hidden Fates, I mean, this was so long ago at this point. This was almost 5 years ago. The reprint happened, and I was in on it because of what history showed us. But after that, it was just sideways for like 3 straight years. And I just was like, I can't just keep my money in something that's not making a move. So I don't know. I just don't have a lot of conviction about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I had to choose one, I probably would be 151 also.
Let's do 3 more questions, then we'll get out of here. We've been going for quite a bit.
Hold on. Will 151 beat Hidden Fates?
Oh my gosh.
My reply is no.
Oh my God, Magic 8-Ball.
We're throwing the 8-Ball out. The 8-Ball's corrupted. 8-Ball's corrupted. Agent Crypto got to it.
In terms of market cycle, what stage do you think we're in? We're clearly past euphoria stage, but do you think we're at complacency or on the way down to anxiety?
What do you think?
Oh my god, I feel like we have one of these conversations every however long. Here, let me look it up again.
I'll pull it up. Hold on.
I got it.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
We always got to pull it up. Pull up the chart.
All right. Sharing the screen now.
I love these. This is fun.
It's always fun.
There it is.
No! Stop it. I can probably just open image in a new tab too. Here it is. The question was, we're clearly past the euphoric stage?
I think we are clearly in the panic stage. Actually, I think we're somewhere near disbelief right before hope starts again. I think we've made it through the entire cycle already.
You don't think we're in depression right now?
We were just coming out of depression, maybe into disbelief. I don't know, man. Like, these are all just models.
I know. I feel like last time, okay, so if I recall, last time we talked about it, we were right in the thriller euphoria. I think that there is an argument to be made that we're either near the top of the euphoria or the complacency, but I'll also at the end of this all, like, this is so speculative.
Yeah, we're definitely somewhere between euphoria and complacency.
I'd like to believe that
first kind of drop and then like the stagnation, maybe some recovery. Yeah. Here's the thing though, it's just like what this chart doesn't show is like these time frames can be widely vary, right? They can
so long.
I mean, you might stay in complacency for months, a year, and then you might go through the other 5 cycles within the course of like another year.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about like the bear market of Pokemon or like the downturn of Pokemon after we had a lot of the major reprints, it realistically was for all of 2021, all of 2022, all of 2023, and then most of 2024. So you could say, we'll say 2.5 years was basically, we'll say from anxiety all the way to disbelief. So realistically, I mean, I don't know how long we want to say that hope to euphoria lasts, but if this accumulation period was 2.5 years, like why couldn't the bull market also be 2.5 years long?
Yeah, because what do you think hope was? That was like temporal stellar time?
I would say hope was definitely Twilight Masquerade.
Yeah.
I think Twilight was the first piece of hope because people saw that there was a set that could perform well without it being like a Charizard or like something crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because when Greninja was the main chase, it took a lot of people, including myself, off guard.
There was not a single person out there that believed in Twilight Masquerade.
No, it was a set that we thought was going to flop.
Yeah, including us.
Yeah. So, and then optimism definitely started to come once we hit surging. Yes. Because people were like, oh my god, this is gonna be one of the first sets that hits 200. Belief was prismatic, and then thrill and euphoria has been since then.
Yeah.
So at this point we're just kind of riding that wave of it out, and then the complacency really is just gonna come, I would say, once we really start to feel that sideways movement, because we haven't seen any sort of like real hype set next, right?
Agree.
Which it could be Dream, right? Dream could be that next set, but like realistically, I don't know if you can agree or disagree with me on this, Alex. I don't think people are looking at Dream and getting hyped in the same way as some of these other sets. Like people think it's going to be a good set, but it's not one of these things where it's like, oh my god, I can't wait to get Dream. It's that, oh, another set that probably looks good.
Yeah,
I'll probably pick it up. You know what I mean? Like the energy around the set is that people think it'll be good, but not that it's a set that they're so dying to get a hold of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's like we said, like complacency could last till Gen 10. I mean, the entire mega generation could be in complacency.
Yeah. No, I think that's I think that's very possible. Because if we say like, when did Twilight Masquerade come out?
About a year and a half ago.
Was it in August? Release date. Release date was May 24th. So that was, just so that people put this in perspective, if we're going off of what we think the charting is showing us, we believed that optimism was surging and that hope. So just between hope and optimism, that was between May and November. There was about a 6-month period. Or right, well, hold on. All of June, all of July, all of August, all of September, all of October. So about a 5-month period. There's about a 5-month period between hope and optimism. So, I mean, this is super speculative, right, guys? We're not saying this is 1-for-1 or anything, but you could realistically see that this complacency point, if we are truly in complacency at this point, and we've kind of topped out with what we think the high end of this market is, you could easily see this last for at least another 6 months to a year. Easily.
Well, let's think, dude. Tulip Mania lasted like 4 years.
Well, then we got to think about the Beanie Babies if we're really thinking about it from that perspective.
I'm just saying, man.
Tulip Mania is crazy. What about the Labubu's, Alex?
The Labubu was never a reach euphoria.
See, what a bunch of failures. Yeah, I think that if we look at just where booster boxes are settling right now, I feel like we've kind of found a ceiling. I don't know.
Yeah,
would you agree?
300's the ceiling for sure.
I think 300 is currently the market ceiling for booster boxes.
And just like every market, there's going to be, whenever we do get to whatever new bottom, it's not going to be the old bottoms. It just isn't.
Yeah, it'll be a new floor. And that most likely, here's the thing people are not going to like to hear. It most likely is going to be because next generation, they're going to raise MSRP. It's going to probably be right around, I can't remember what the exact percentage I gave was, but it was like 180 something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, so with that, wholesale cost probably going up by another 10 to 15 bucks. So the new floor from then on out will probably be for booster boxes right around $105, give or take.
No way.
For wholesale, you don't think?
For you don't mean market price?
No, I said for wholesale.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think market price though will be like 120s, 130s.
Depends how destructive the market is. It's hard to say for certain, because in each of these cycles we have hit below at one point.
You're right.
Wholesale, so
it's hard. Every run there becomes more and more confidence, and there's more and more data, and I just think the more it continues to happen, the more like trust there is. Like, dude, I don't even know what's going to happen. Here's the thing: if this whole cycle completes again, and we do have a big downturn, a time of like stagnation at the lows, and another run that even blasts off higher than this run in like 3-4 years, how could anyone ever disagree with it again? Like that would have to cement it as like the end all be all. I don't want to hear any disbelief ever again. This is the pattern until the end of time.
1,000%. Yeah.
If it does it one more time, people have to just shut up at that point and accept it.
Yeah.
I mean, we heard this, dude. Me and you used to go on live streams with other PokeTubers, like debating this idea that Sword and Shield was going to run and it was going to happen. And everyone said, no, it was a black swan event in COVID. That's never happening. Sword and Shield still were printed. And we all forget that no one believed in this stuff back then. And now we're in this whole new period of like disbelief. It's just like, dude, how many times does the pattern have to repeat for people to say, okay, we're wrong?
Yeah. History repeats itself, man. And most of the time it repeats itself because humans tend to forget history.
Or the same humans
because
aren't
of that,
around the next market cycle. It's new humans.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
weren't there, and they don't, unless they have a firsthand experience of it, they don't really take like a believe or like feel what people's words are. You have to kind of go through the cycles to actually feel it.
What's the quote goes? History is doomed to repeat itself if it is forgotten or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I mean that's literally just, yeah, it's just playing out in real time. So we'll see obviously what things are going to look like over the next 6 months to a year, but I definitely think there's a real argument to be made that within the new market cycle, it's going to probably come at the expense of an increase in MSRP, an increase in wholesale, and just a completely different floor for the entire market. But of course, with that, in the next bull market will be a different ceiling, right?
Yes.
But all right, let's move on. Dang. All right, one more question because that one took forever.
I like that one.
I'm caught up to the point of MSRP. Hey, so a lot of people are agreeing with me. So a lot of people are agreeing, saying,
well,
MSRP
yeah, I should have rephrased that. The people that are like, watch our channels, like they're the smart individuals. I'm saying the people that, are going to make the drama content, they'll probably pick that up and find something wrong with it.
Someone said, I do want to highlight this because I think this is good. My local GameStop has a ton of sleeved packs and booster bundles left. That's because they raised their price so closely to market price. I have been seeing people post pictures of GameStop doing that.
Funny how that works, isn't it?
Yeah, it is kind of crazy.
Funny that when like there's no margin, there's no scalpers.
Wild, dude. I'm telling you, like, I want to crap on GameStop, but like, dude, they have taken the opportunity of like the whole like GameStop situation, whatever it was called. What was the actual term it was called?
What, stonk? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. There was the catalyst that occurred where there was a huge short squeeze on GameStop. That liquidity injection into their business, they took it and ran with it, man.
Yeah.
They are very much looking at what is going to keep them alive as a company, and they are not doing anything wrong.
Dude, Ryan Cohen's a genius.
He's legitimately like doing everything right.
He's like the anti-Cynthia Williams.
That's crazy. Dude's legitimately though, like GameStop is doing a complete 180. They are doing things from a business perspective so well right now. And you can sit here and disagree with a lot of like, the handling of customer service or just the quality of some of the product they have, whatever. That's fair. I mean, there's always going to be criticisms. But just if we're talking about from like a business perspective and where their business was several years ago on the brink of bankruptcy to now like completely doing a 180 and the moves that they're making to continue their success, they're doing something right. That's for sure.
Someone just asked in the chat, what happened to your landscape business? Why did you switch? Why did I switch from doing manual labor? That really need to be answered. And then even once I got more out of the field, like why did I switch from dealing with a bunch of laborers that it's impossible to keep good help and constantly quitting, constantly having to jump back in the field? Dude, running a landscape business is a mess. No, it was successful. I mean, we turned high profits. It's just you as you kind of like grow and like learn more, you find like easier ways of making the same or more money with like less people, less risk, less work. And so that's pretty much all it is.
Yeah. All right. This is our last question.
Not successful.
This is not a question. Dude, what?
What is it?
It's not a question. It's just Alex, you ruined my life telling me to invest in Pokemon. There will be a lawsuit. There will be consequences, Mr. Nomics from Republic.
Oh, Mr. Bricks.
Dude, Mr. Bricks, bro.
I'm gonna see you for all the Legos you own, dude. I'm gonna build myself a house out of Legos.
Is that an Ed Sheeran song? Follow up for Gen 10 question. This will be the last one. What if they did a team up style set with Gen 10 plus a top Pokemon to carry the set? Pokemon are so on it recently, they know what they're doing. I mean, it's possible, right? We have absolutely no clue what Pokemon's going to do going into the next generation, what art style they're going to have. I mean, there's a lot that they could do, right?
I'm going to err on the side of I'm going to believe they're going to do something very bullish.
It's possible for sure. But all right, guys, we'll just wrap it up there. I want to thank you all so much for stopping by. Anything you want to say, Alex?
No, man, good chat as always.
Yeah, leave a like, comment down below, subscribe, helps the channel Alex's links down in the description below. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, just don't forget tulips, Pokemon, Beanie Babies. What do they all have in common again, Alex? I can't remember.
Everything.
Everything. There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a good one. See y'all next Monday. Peace.